I'm grateful to see how many motivated folks have come to join us tonight, because the sheer number of people that have come to our town halls, including this one in northern New Mexico, demonstrates that this community clearly prioritizes public safety, and I'm grateful for that. We're in Las Cruces Thursday night, and as many of you may have seen, we were in Albuquerque last night. Similar outpouring of community members offering their insights, experiences, and perspectives on public safety within their communities. We're eager to engage in the same respectful, constructive discourse, moving us closer to our shared goals of a safer New Mexico where we can live, work, and raise our families in. Before we launch into the production, I want to introduce our host, President, Northern New Mexico College, Hector Balderas. He's going to say a few words to welcome us, and then he's going to introduce our governor. President Balderas.
Thank you. Let's get that and see a lot of applause. I'd like to do two things. Number one is on behalf of our college, our faculty, our staff, our students, and the families that trust us to empower and educate students. I want to thank you because we all understand that we will never have prosperous communities until we truly have safe communities. And so on behalf of our college, we are honored to host such a critical and important conversation. We have dignitaries, members of law enforcement, but most importantly, we are honored to allow the community to have a conversation with our governor and our community thought leaders. And so it's an honor as a leader of this educational institution, which is so vital to the future success of this region. We're honored to play your host. And secondly, I'd like to also introduce someone who is not only a respected leader, former Secretary of Health, a congresswoman, a county commissioner, someone who understands northern New Mexico, but it's a real honor to also have the governor of New Mexico not only lead a conversation, but to listen to all the wonderful families that are here tonight. So on behalf of, as the president of the Northern New Mexico College, if we could give the governor of New Mexico a round of applause. She's in our attendance.
Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Attorney General. I might just, so I don't have my back to the distinguished panel, but I wanted to, I'm the same size, seated or standing, but definitely want to stand. Out of respect for the men and women and families who are here who have a lot of other things to do. But this conversation is really important to me personally, and to the entire state. So I want to do a little background. Like every New Mexican, I'm no stranger to the fact that there isn't a New Mexico community who doesn't have some risk. Whether that is drugs and overdoses, whether that is too many kids that drop out of school, or whether we've got issues in sustaining businesses, or we've got road rage and related vehicular homicides. This is a state for far too long that has just recognized that these risks exist, but the strategies that we deliver to our communities don't ever seem to be enough. And I think that will resonate, and we'll hear from you about where you want to go, what your personal experiences are, and what we ought to do differently. 2, when I campaigned in 2018, then I said, public safety is an issue that needs significant efforts to address it in every single community. And every single year since I've been governor, and I've gotten really good, frankly, support from the legislature, we have invested a ton of money in policing and public safety. You probably won't believe this, but it's well more than $1.5 billion. And where you see it in places like Espanola is that it's available for firefighters for retention and recruitment, for police officers, for retention and recruitment. It's easy to access their grants to the departments because we need more police officers. We need more first responders. We built a new fire station. We helped do improvements to the police station or public safety center. And we're very interested in more regional, collective work between city and county and related jurisdictions. Because if we don't do that, there's no way to adequately catch up or leverage. And so we've been really aggressive about that. The other issue about crime that both the policymakers, the legislature, local government, and me included, we really want to make sure that we're doing that upstream stuff, which the president of the university spoke about. Are we getting kids into college? Yes, we have the second highest enrollment in the nation. We have the highest first-time college students in the nation. So we are really making a difference. And interestingly enough, many of our college students, even with those rankings, are changing careers and going back to school. It's 30, 40, 50, and in my brother's case, a 60-year-old. And so it's doing exactly what it should do, creating stability and economic opportunity for families. We're going to be the only state in America that has universal free childcare. Right now it's 400% of poverty. It's unheard of anywhere in the country. We just had an early childhood education summit. The same thing, we're moving faster and further than any place in the country for free, high-quality 3- and 4-year-old early childhood. And we did a moonshot into our educational system. It's not quite as far along as I would like it in K through 12, but we finally figured out what part of the problem is: reading and literacy. And frankly, before President Balderas was here, no college, no university in the state of New Mexico was teaching educators how to teach reading. So we're all born with the ability to do language, to speak it, but no one's born with the ability to learn to read. There's a very specific way in which humans at all ages have to be taught. Well, none of our educators ever got that training. So the state retrained all of our K through 5 educators. We're moving through that pipeline, and now including this university, and they're all doing it. No university can be accredited, or community college, unless they're using, it's called the science of reading. All right, so we're doing all of that. We've invested $1 billion plus more in behavioral health, $1.5 billion more in hospitals. We're building long-term care facilities. We're building critical behavioral health facilities. We now have increased access to behavioral health in 1 year by well more than 73%, with 104% increase in behavioral health. All right, is any of that enough? It's not. But is it a huge leap forward? It is. So why is it that we still have these increasing tensions in our community with incredible risk for our families? And after a lot of research, I will tell you why. And I've been asking the legislature, not just now, but for more than 1.5 years, to deal with this intersection. And here it is. There is an intersection of significant public safety risk between individuals who are living on our streets and their drug addiction or serious mental health issues that create violent, serious crime. What I am not saying is that people who are mentally ill or have a behavioral health issue are dangerous, are criminals, and should be treated through an incarceration or an arrest process. And in fact, even if I said that, and I would never, it's illegal, all right? So it has nothing to do with that. But what we've learned is since 2017, and I should let you know this data is not easy to get because they're not really reporting to us, courts and the criminal justice system. Since 2017, there have been 16,000 encounters with a judge. Now wait, here's what that means. Cases, encounters, that means 16,000 victims in the state of New Mexico since 2017, whose cases never got fully adjudicated. It means they were not before the judge, because you know what happened? Case got arrested, go to the judge deems that you are not competent to stand trial. Why not? Because you have a mental health issue or it's usually a combination that you have a drug addiction issue. So what happens to those defendants? They are released into your communities. And let me tell you what that looks like. 5,000 plus of those 16,000 cases are dangerous felonies. What does that mean? Because this was shocking to me. Rape, attempted murder, drug dealing, human trafficking, human smuggling, serious robberies, repeat large property damage, assaults. It goes on. And again, in this area, it constitutes about 350 people who are released right here. In that number, know this, it's not a one-time thing. So somebody who is dangerous, right, it represents statewide, and I don't think the data is as good as I need it to be, but for the data that I have, compelling enough, 3,291 distinct individuals have gone before judges in your community and statewide 30 and 40 times a year, with zero intersections for treatment, intervention, any of it, zero accountability. That is wreaking havoc in our state. A couple more things and I'm going to end. One, the only way to get out of that revolving door is to change our laws. You should know that most states, many states have changed these laws, and that New Mexico hasn't addressed commitment, treatment, for 50 years. Can't get it passed. 50 years, not new. And we wonder why it's not working. States like California, so, Democratic states, blue states, California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, all have these changes. Red states, Florida, Texas, and more, have all made the requisite changes to make sure that instead of just dismissing that individual who committed again, these are not misdemeanors, these are serious, dangerous crimes, they get committed to treatment in a secure environment, committed to treatment until they can stand trial. And if they're found guilty, they will go into a corrections system. All right, that's the intersection that I am desperate to get in front of. And in addition, we should mandate that courts are reporting to us what's going on. So should every police jurisdiction, so that we can make the changes that we need to make when we need to make them. We should do, and frankly, your local leaders, and I don't know how it's going in terms of the enforcement, but we copied the pedestrian safety bill right out of Espanola, where if it's too much traffic and it's a narrow space, you can't panhandle. Can't. It's constitutional. It was very smart by the folks on this panel. We want it statewide, and we want the enforcement tools to do it statewide. This may shock some of you, shock me, but our panhandling is very organized. Gone are the days, and we do. We have some very needy who deserve our compassion and respect. People who are unhoused that need housing. And I am sure for a meal need your financial support in whatever way you can. What is happening in New Mexico is not that. It is organized by the 3,291 individuals who are drug dealing everywhere all the time and encouraging people, requiring them to steal and to engage in very dangerous criminal activity. And make no mistakes, they are showing up on your pedestrian areas. And that's happening all over the state. Also make no mistake that when you have this environment, it's permissive. So other states are saying you should go to New Mexico. Nothing will happen. You won't get arrested, and if you do, you're out in 12 hours. It's fine. So they're coming. And we cannot be the place where all of that occurs. Last part. We have the lowest sentencing laws for violent crime in the country. So if you commit a murder, you can be out in 5 years, sometimes less. And there's a debate in the legislature. There's no evidence anymore. Don't know that I believe that exactly, but I'm going to take it for right now. That suggests that longer sentences deter you from crime. But for the victim of that crime and their family, they know that the longer you're in prison, being accountable, the less likely you're to come right back out and murder someone else, which, by the way, just happened in Portales. So I think if you're a felon in possession of a firearm, you stay longer. I think if you are drug trafficking and engaging in fentanyl trafficking, you stay longer. And I'm interested in more of those laws. The legislature has seen these multiple times, not all of them together in that package. There's a disagreement between us about what to do and when to do it. There's no fight. Fighting with local elected leaders doesn't benefit anyone here in the slightest. We got to work together. But we do need a call to action. And I can't think of a more important time to get in front of this issue. And I want to tell a story that everyone in this community already knows. And the reason I want to tell it is because we should be a lot further along today, and we're not. And it should really make us productively maybe angry, where we're willing to do a call to action and to talk to our neighbors, but nothing that would create more problems with safety and respect. But a woman that everyone knows, Val Martinez and her family, I didn't know Val and Urban. I didn't know who they were. I was being introduced to so many incredible people in Rio Riva County when I was lucky enough to run. That's the best part about being a candidate. The other stuff is really hard, but when you get to meet people who bring you chili and support, want to talk to you, and are kind to you, it's the best thing that will ever happen to you. I'm so lucky. And I met Cameron. And I met him in a way that I actually met him and talked to him first before I met his parents. And he wanted to be in a commercial. How lucky am I? And you know, the thing that he was focused on was apprenticeships and trades and more money in colleges and schools and no wrong door. And I will tell you, it's that young man and this family right here in Espanola that were the backbone and the background for getting free college and trades and education for every single New Mexican. That happened. Yeah, I absolutely give her a round of applause. And more happened right here. 3 shooters, a drug deal that had nothing to do with this family. Wrong place, wrong time. Do you know, since then, since that horrific tragedy, that will always be heavy for this entire family and their community, everyone here. That's happening every day, everywhere. The kids have guns in schools, mid-school and high school. We have people in cars who are randomly still shooting. They are felons with firearms, and they should not be out of prison in just a couple of years. Absolutely not. All right. So I've gone on too long, but I just wanted to tell you that. And then to make sure that you know that all that violent crime trickles down into broken windows, broken doors, carjacking, car thefts, copper taken out of lighting. All of that is connected to this organized, really dangerous stuff. And if we're going to get after it, we're going to have to pass these laws. And I promised I wouldn't go on too long. Last thing, we haven't increased our police forces. You know, this country's in a big debate about too much police, not enough police, community policing. What does it mean? We have to make sure that our policing is fair and sound and constitutional. All of us have a responsibility to make sure that happens. But to ignore that they have not seen increases State's doing it now. I'm going to take some credit. State did this all by itself. I mean, the legislature gave me the money, but that didn't come out of the legislature. That's our idea. 100, and we asked for 150 million, we got 136, I want more. You have the same number of police officers in the state as you did 30 years ago. We have fewer people in jail in most of our jails and detention centers than we did a decade ago. More people, more risk, more issues. How is that possible? Well, it's possible because there's a revolving door, there isn't justice, and people are right out. So I want to hear you. I need you to tell me whether any of this makes sense, because if it doesn't, then I got to do more. I need you to tell me what other ideas we need at the table. And I need your ideas as well about how do we get these bills, if you believe in them, how do I get them passed in the legislature and when? How can we work together? Because it's going to take every single one of us at this table and in this audience to stand up for the quality of life and the safety of our neighbors and friends, to never let any of these risks be in vain, to learn from the lessons of the past, and to just, quite frankly, say enough is enough. Not in my community. Not now, not ever. So thank you very much for having me and coming out here.